Are we ready? Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Village of Biscayne Park Code Compliance Board. It is now 6:01. This is the meeting of the Village of Biscayne Park Code Compliance Board. The board is authorized pursuant to Chapter 14 of the Village's Land Development Code to ensure compliance with the Village's Code of Ordinances. The members of the board are citizens and residents of the Village of Biscayne Park. We volunteer our time and we are not paid for our services. The purpose of each hearing is to give any alleged violators the opportunity to contest the decision of the code compliance officer, which resulted in the issuance of a notice of violation, and to determine whether a violation of the village's code has occurred or is occurring. We are not authorized to dismiss violations based on hardships, ignorance, or the fact that others may be guilty of the same violation. These hearings are conducted in a quasi-judicial manner. Our responsibility is to act much like a judge in a court, and that is to hear cases presented by the village's code compliance officers and to hear contradictory arguments presented by the alleged violators. We are not authorized to change the code. The village commission is solely authorized to enact or revise codes. Conversely, neither the commission nor the village manager have the authority to overrule the findings of the board. Pursuant to Chapter 162 of Florida statutes, orders of the board can only be appealed to the Circuit Court of Miami-Dade County. We have the authority to assess and order the payment of civil penalties, to issue orders having the force of law, to command whatever steps are necessary to bring a violation into compliance, and to assess administrative costs. In order to make a finding upholding the code compliance officer's decision, we must find that there is substantial competent evidence that the named violator was responsible for a violation of the relevant section of the code as charged. All documentary evidence presented by the parties must be submitted for placement in the hearing file. No documentary evidence will be considered unless the alleged violator or code compliance officer submits a copy for the hearing file. Each party shall have the right to call and examine witnesses, to introduce exhibits, to cross-examine opposing witnesses on any matter relevant to the issues, even though that matter was not covered in the direct examination, to impeach any witness regardless of which party first called them to testify, and to rebut the evidence against them. If you intend to address the board and you haven't signed in, please do so by your case number. And anyone wishing to address the board, please stand now and raise your right hand so that you may be sworn in. You are reminded that this board is a quasi-judicial board. And giving false testimony can be penalized. Is this one? Yeah.
Please raise your right hand.
Here. Yeah. Testing. Yeah, this one's okay. We'll share. Yes.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You may be seated.
Vanessa, would you please call the roll?
Janie Anderson.
Here.
Dale Blinton. Rodolfo Batisto. Sorry. Judy Hemmerberg.
Here.
Michael Linnett, he's excused.
Michael is absent, and we do need to vote on his absence. So should we do that now?
Yes.
I make a motion to approve Michael's absence. He did turn in an email that he would be missing for tonight's meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda? The only thing I would like to do, if there's no objection, is take the approval of the minutes, move that to 8.23, because there are a few things, and I'd rather not take up, we have such a large audience, and I'd rather those folks be heard, and then we can get to that.
I agree.
Just consensus will move the minutes to 8.23. If code officers or Vanessa, will you be calling the cases?
Yes, so we're gonna start off with 7.6.
Or is that 8.6?
7.6. 1153 Northeast 119th Street, case number EEN 21-0024. Teresa Garzon Garnett.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. The violation is fence walls, chapter 8.4 and 11.6. In reference to this case, the property owner installed a fence without a permit. And currently the property owner right now has removed the fence. This case has been brought before the board before. And we're asking for an intent to lien on this case.
Questions from the board?
No, the fence has been removed from a long time ago. It was right. She claims the fence was never installed. At the last hearing, she said she would bring some evidence to show that she hadn't installed the fence and this was all a mistake. So she's here to present her evidence.
We have,
Brought it with her.
Yeah. So, can I talk? Okay.
would
As
you
I
please
mentioned,
identify yourself and your relationship to the property, please.
yeah, I'm the owner of the property. So, the idea was to build a railing. So the fine or the violation was originated on January 7. I got the violation. I present permits on January 11. And we're submitting for the meeting that took place on January 19. That was denied and went over to, because the idea once again was not a fence, it was the railing because of security reasons. That was denied, and I talked to the man, Mario Diaz at the time. He answered my emails on January 28th. I'm sorry, in February, he responded my emails, and this went again to meeting on February 16. So we're in the process, and actually during this, one of these, the code or compliance, I don't know which of the meetings, they told me that a good idea would be to create a planter. I submit the permits, I build the planter, no problem with that. However, I got another notice of violation on February 24. I paid the fine on April, and I think last year I submit another payment, no? 2 payments for the same concept. But it was never a fence, just to be clear, it was never one fence in the property because I understood that was not possible.
Do we have anything from planning and zoning? Any email backup?
I have some of the minutes. The minute, not the. Yeah, it is kind of messy.
Remember, anything has to stay now with the file. She can't take it back. Uh-huh. Right.
I can give you the minutes. So on February 16, this one I was in the meeting, and this is emails.
And the second violation that was issued on the same case?
Yeah, but in February 24th, so second violation. And this is the payment. And this is another code enforcement, and these are payments that I have done to the city. Sorry.
This we have, but I mean, from, this we do have. It really is a lot to go through.
I tried to contact the office to submit the evidence before, and
The purpose of her bringing this is to show that the violation was issued erroneously in the first place. There was no fence being installed. She was installing a planter. So she was to bring that evidence, and I guess that's the evidence to show that what she was installing at the property was not a fence. We took some pictures today, and they do show a planter there, not a fence.
that was doing with a proper permit
But-
issue made.
When you go.
I didn't have an opportunity to review the evidence that she brought. So if the board may give, we'll be okay with allowing the board to have time to review this, or?
Yes, I'm sorry that there were old copies that I had, and they were not proper to present it to you
When
that
you
way.
go back to the original
Picture.
pictures from
Mhm.
January 7th, 2021, that's not a planner. Those are clearly posts that wouldn't be indicative of a planner.
May I explain?
Mhm.
What I mentioned before is the idea was to do a railing.
Ma'am, I need you into the mic, please.
It was a railing. It was not a fence, never, the intention was never
Either
a
way,
fence.
Okay, either way, that.
But
would be an
I submit the
affirmable issue.
permits, and I
Right.
paid the fine. And when the permit was denied because it was not allowed to build a railing, I took out
I
all the posts.
understand, but the fact that there were already posts.
And that's
in the
why I
ground-
paid the fine.
Ma'am, please. There were already posts in the ground before the denial. That's what I'm having a problem with. So there was a functionality there that existed prior to the denial and the changeover to a planter. Because I don't think you put those posts in for a
Mhm.
planter.
You're right. That's why the original idea was a railing. I submit permits for the railing to clean and cure the violation. I paid the fine of $100 and I went through the process for over a month to make sure that, and they explained me that it was not possible to do a railing. Then I request the permit for the planter. But it was never a fence, the idea.
At this point, I would like to give the resident opportunity to bring the information or whatever, present it to the village. And so we can have time to look at it and give it, so I would like to make a motion to table this to the next meeting, have the resident provide the village with the documentation. If you applied for a permit, provide that information,
It was, okay.
but it was too much at this time.
Yes, I understand. That was not my
I'll
intention.
second that. So I have a motion on the table. This, I'm sorry. I'm skipping on your motion. Go ahead.
No, I make a motion to table until the February meeting.
And I'll
So
second
I
it.
will present,
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Who do these documents go? Do they go back to her?
please.
Come to the office tomorrow, bring all the people.
Ready for our next case?
Sorry. 8.21. 11890 Northeast 10 Ave, case number CEN 22-100. Sarah Fee.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. Chapter 5.6, off-street parking is the violation. In regards to the property, the driveway does not meet the design standards set forth in section 5.6.7. At this time, the property is non-compliant. As today's date, no application or permits were found on the property.
I'm sorry, they still have not applied.
No permits or applications for building has been found.
Board members.
No, I have no questions. I reviewed the documentation. I'd like to hear from the resident at the time if there are no other questions.
Judy Rodolfo, questions?
No.
Go right ahead. And
Okay.
please identify yourself and your relationship to the property.
First, my name is Lena Turnbull. This is my daughter, Kimberly Joseph. And we're Sarah Fahey's family. Right now, my mom is 93 years old. She's on dialysis. And it's been going on from 2020. I'm the only one that takes care of my mom. I tried in the beginning when I got the violation in order to take care of the matter. We don't have the funds. My mom takes dialysis 3 times a week. The parking, she has people come into her house to take care of her. Monday Wednesday, and Friday to clean her at night. She has 5 days a week when someone comes in and takes care of her for 3 hours. And then on the weekends, I am my only caregiver. I am a heart patient. I had 2 open heart surgeries and I was forced to stop working. Right now, I'm on Social Security disability. And I'm doing the best that I can right now. We've been in that house for over almost 30 years. I'm doing my best, but I can't right now.
To piggyback off of what she said also, according to the insurance, the roof needs to be done. In the same year we had the roofing done, our AC unit also went out. And of course, my grandmother's 93 years old and it's expensive, so. Time
I
out.
took a loan to take care of the roof on my Social Security disability. Last year, June, her AC went out in the summer of June. Y'all was gracious to issue a permit early. So that's 2 loans that I have out right now. And I'm full. I have no extra help and I don't want to bother my mom with this. My mom can't get out of bed. She comes every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. There's an ambulance that comes and pick her up. That's why they have so much. I don't know what y'all talking about after. I know the driveway needs to get things. The house needs to be painted. But if I had the money, you won't be seeing me here. And I'm not gonna bother my mother because I want her to be comfortable. She said she want to be in her house. She don't want to be in a nursing home. She was in a nursing home because she got sick in July.
Okay.
She got sick on July 1st in 2020. That's when she was making 90 years old. And she's been like this ever since.
Are there any county programs that would help
She
with
has
something
a
like this?
reverse mortgage.
Okay, hang on, no. No, does the county have any programs that would help an elderly resident?
Okay, no, I don't have any questions and I appreciate the,
At the moment, I'm sorry, Dale, to interrupt. At the moment, we don't know of any programs that have been offered to the residents. We hear a lot of these heartbreaking stories
Yeah.
from residents, especially where drivers are concerned because they are such a big project. However,
Right.
we cannot enforce selectively.
No.
We have to issue to everyone. It's up to the board to consider each individual case.
Right.
And
No, you have to do your jobs fairly across the board, absolutely.
well, what I would like to see, I mean, if you don't mind, or if I need, is because I don't think we've received any documentation of a hardship at this point, other than the testimony tonight.
I sent an email to.
Well, we haven't, the board, so it may be an email. I understand, ma'am. I'm trying to work with you now. So, but to have the resident provide some type of documentation and to give the resident, I'll make a motion in a second, or should I do it now? I would make a motion to, have the resident, provide documentation and to come into compliance, file for a permit or come into compliance within 6 months. You can always come back before the board to ask for an extension. But at that point, in 6 months, if circumstances haven't changed, you could, address the board again, come in for.
So let's, give me just a second, ma'am. We want to set a certain date. Would you say June 19th,
We make it sometime in July.
July 17th?
And unfortunately, we don't make the rules
I understand.
and we can only do so much with them. So we're trying to do what we can do to work with you.
What we try to do is to take the whole picture into consideration. But when you have standards and rules, you can't selectively enforce them because many people have reasons why they need, but so that's why Gail has suggested give till July 17th?
Yes. Yes, with the stipulation that the resident provides documentation within 2 weeks of a hardship.
And to come into compliance by pulling the permits, providing the documentation by July 17th.
And I'll second that.
We haven't discussed.
The daily fine would be $250 a day. But
So they would need to come back to us in June
no.
Yeah. with an update.
Give them a compliance date of July 17th to pull the permits. But to come back
Come back to us
to
in
this
June.
board at June's meeting with an update.
I think that's,
Because
Yeah.
we cover our bases.
yeah.
Then we can discuss where we go from there. What do you think? Jeff?
Yeah, that sounds good. I'd like to make a motion to, well, coming back before us in June does not solve the issue if we're gonna.
No. The
Compliance date
compliance date
of
of
July.
July, but let's get an update because a month out, they're gonna know. They're going to know where they stand a month out.
That would be up to the resident. If they want to come back for an extension or what use is to come back with an update if they're not asking for an extension? Or they're not asking, saying, I mean, if they have a permit or having a permit, then it's all go. If they're not, that's not, I don't see why we need to hear it ahead of time if they're not asking for anything or it's unresolved or the issue circumstances have changed. I mean,
I just feel if they're overwhelmed and they've got a lot on their plate, if we give them a June date, then we're going to be reaching out to them to find
If
out.
they're good to go. They don't even have to physically come.
Right,
Code officers.
right.
They let us know they're good to go. Everything's fine. If there's a problem, come back at June's meeting and let's talk. Okay.
well, then basically you're asking for it to be tabled.
No, I want to give them the July deadline to come into compliance. I just want not to find out all of a sudden in July, there's still a problem. I'd rather know in advance.
Because if we give them till July 17th, then our meeting isn't until later, or they go away in July, we're, you know, I trying to cover for them.
Make a motion.
All right. Then I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion that the family provide for us documentation within the next 2 weeks of their situation. And we give them until July 17th to come into compliance. And we request that they be present at the June meeting to update us on the progress.
Okay, I have one question because she took out a permit for AC and no inspector came to check on the AC. And when I had a problem trying to get the roof repaired the last time, we had a problem because the roof permit wasn't closed. So if you want me to obtain a permit, how do I go about this? Because I don't want to go through the same, there's an open permit.
The open permits go to the building department, and Doreen can assist you with who you need to talk to on that.
There a second?
We have a motion on the table. I was gonna say we still need a second. I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
I would just like to make a comment, and it's not necessarily for this case. We are happy to have Commissioner Kennedy in the meeting tonight. Commissioner Kennedy, I wasn't supposed to address you, but I'm just gonna mention that these are some of the issues that we are experiencing with these driveway issues. And I would like you to take note of it and probably discuss it with the commission. If there are programs out there that can help people like the lady here and her mom, we're asking that the commission looks into.
There are programs out there, but the problem is my mom has a reverse mortgage. She's in a reverse mortgage. Because there's program out there. but because of the reverse mortgage, she's being denied.
Okay. I'm just presenting to the commissioner that they go out there and look for programs that might be able to assist, because we can't look for programs for you. We don't have that kind of power.
I appreciate it.
City of North Miami is the one that has the programs, just so you know.
And Miami-Dade, but they have called our house. But when I say she have a reverse mortgage, conversation is tough. Thank you.
And I would recommend the family try and contact the county commissioner, Mickey Steinberg, and see if the county may also have some programs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Luciano, you good with calling the next case, or do you want to wait for Gloria? Vanessa, would you like to
Yes.
call the next case, please?
7.3.
Three.
1106 Northeast 118th Street, EEN 210592. 1106 Northeast 118 LLC, care of registered agent Biscayne Urban Homes LLC.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. In reference to this property, we're asking the board to issue an order to dismiss per the village attorney's recommendation. This property was not serviced.
I think this one is pretty simple.
Yeah, so I read over the chain of emails and the recommendation from the village attorney, and if there are no questions, I'd make a motion to dismiss.
A second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
Eleven oh six Northeast, 7.4.
8.4.
7.4.
Okay.
1106 Northeast 118th Street, case number EEN 210706. 1106 Northeast 118 LLC, care of registered agent Biscayne Urban Home LLC.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. In reference to this case, asking the board to order to dismiss per the village attorney's recommendation. Again, they were not serviced in this case.
Again, pretty simple. I would make a motion to dismiss.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eight point six. 8.6, 1104 Northeast 118th Street, case number CEN 23500. Robert Ray. Okay.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. The violation in this case is section 5.6, street parking. Description is for a non-conforming driveway that was issued on December 14, 2023. What we're asking the board on this one is an order to dismiss. The driveway hasn't reached the 50% deterioration mark as required in chapter 5.6.1A2.
In CEN 23-500, I would make a motion to dismiss.
I'll second. I mean, looking at the photographs, I see
obvious.
it's getting a little sparse in the photograph, but
But
it certainly
it's
isn't
Good condition.
50.
Overall decent condition, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Your case is dismissed, sir. Thank you.
Eight point seven. 1107 Northeast 118th Street, case number CEN 23-502, Daniel B. Keys.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. The violation on this property was section 5.6, street parking, on December 14, 2023. A violation was issued for a non-conforming driveway. At this time, we're asking the board to order a dismissal. The driveway hasn't reached the 50% deterioration as required in chapter 5.6.1.A2.
I would like to add that Mr. Key's case was one of the cases that prompted us to go this route with several driveway violations that we had issued. They are non-conforming. Technically, they would be in violation. However, he was here when this ordinance was being discussed and when it passed. So
50% rule.
the 50% rule, when we apply to gravel driveways, we have run into so many problems because how can I tell 50% rocks and are missing? So we are again dealing with these cases, case by case. We're going back re-inspecting. When we find that a driveway is not 50% non-conforming, we have to dismiss these cases.
No, not even any doubt. I make a motion in CEN 23-502 that there was no violation and we dismiss the case.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you, but may I ask a question? How is,
Name and your
my name
relationship
is
to the property.
Daniel Keys. I'm the owner of 1107 118th Street.
Yeah.
Can I be protected by something in my file indicating that my driveway is a non-conforming use? Okay, and I'm kind of tired of sitting on pins and needles waiting for somebody's.
That's a good question.
So with the
Go
gravel,
back.
I'm sorry, with the gravel driveways, we need to see that the gravel is replenished all the time. And with a completely compliant driveway, a driveway with gravel would have a border around it. But until you get to the 50% non-conforming
Right.
stage, I cannot ask you to put a border around it. The ordinance doesn't allow me.
Okay. And with all due respect, you're here today. My driveway might be there 10 years from now, when you may not be here. Okay? So I don't want somebody coming and saying that your driveway is a violation of the code like they did originally here. I want, and if they think about giving me a violation notice, they should look in my file to see if my driveway is a non-conforming use. And then apply the 50% deterioration rule to evaluating that. Otherwise, you're gonna just keep doing this over and over without any records.
That's a very good.
Very
point,
valid
Jay.
point,
Very
and
good
I would suggest that you speak with the village manager and the village, because at this point, we have some cases to be heard and we're hearing them and
It's a
Okay,
very
thank you.
valid point, but
absolutely.
we can't do anything.
We will have the commissioner review the tape and listen to your comments so they can consider looking at this ordinance again.
Eight point nine. 11131 Northeast 9 Court. Case number CEN 23-458. Maria
Maria Vega,
Maria Vega.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, the Village of Biscayne Park. The violation is section 6.3.3, trash and recycling placed at the property line and or not removed. On we had a excessive trash pile on the property, and the property owner right now is requesting for a retraction of the administration citation CEN -23-458 and the $25 fine.
It looks to me like the first decision the board has to make is whether or not to authorize the village to subpoena Jose Gonzalez.
The village attorney, after several emails back and forth, had said that I cannot just request him to come here. Only the board has the authority to summon him. So he is not here for that reason. We would have to have the board summon him to come and testify.
That's as I understood from our backup. So, in reading the backup and in reading the various comments, how does the board feel about?
Well, one of the comments that concerned me was that that after the citation, some of the trash was reduced. And that was a big concern to me because, you know, that's fine, but you've already got a citation. And that's my concern. If it's removed, great, but then they would pick it up the next week or have it arranged to be picked up.
Doesn't change the original.
Doesn't change the original citation. That's.
We want.
Could you please speak in the microphone, just so we
I
can?
was. My concern was, in some of the documentation I read, was that the resident or some of the trash was removed after the citation was given, and then it was remeasured or measured at that time by Great West, which would give you a different cubic footage. So.
Yes, I put as much.
I am
into the
apt
evidence.
to ask the village to keep the citation, remain in effect, to affirm it. So that's my opinion.
Do we or do we not want to authorize a subpoena for Mr. Gonzalez's testimony? Or
I don't think we really need to.
You want to take just on what we have? No, I'm fine. It's why I'm asking.
do we get to?
Judy, Rodolfo?
I mean, I don't see. I mean, I personally don't leave large amounts out because I don't want this to be a problem for me, but I don't see that the citation should be taken away.
She didn't think the citation
I
should
don't.
be taken away. I mean, I'm looking at otherwise we're having every resident who has a large pile be afforded the courtesy of removing it and then seeking a refund of a citation that was,
That's not
About-
what
Yeah,
happened.
we have. Mr.
That's not
Gonzalez.
what happened.
sir.
Please, please, sir.
That's not what happened.
Please, sir.
Okay.
We have Mr. Gonzalez's written testimony that in fact the pile was reduced and that's why they did pick it up.
Exactly.
So
Madam Chair, could you please speak in the mic?
I'm sorry, we have Mr. Gonzalez's written testimony that the pile in fact was reduced, which was why they were able to abate the original fee for service and pick it up the following Tuesday. But the original pile, even going on, it's actually 4 cubic yards for a duplex, not 2, that would still have made it 12 cubic yards over. So,
Which I was gonna wait till after the meeting to discuss, because as far as I'm concerned, if you're having two things, then you have two residents there.
Mhm.
One's on one side, one's on the other. Otherwise, my neighbor and I don't combine ours.
Absolutely.
Even though we're each paying our own bill, a duplex is similarly the same. You have two fees
Separate
that you're
prop-
paying
Yes.
separately.
Mhm.
It shouldn't be a combined cubic footage for both both properties.
it shouldn't, but you could probably argue whether you pick it up on each side or you pick it up in one pile, they're still entitled to force it out.
How would you know?
Well, true.
And there are properties that are owned by, there are duplexes that are owned by,
Yes.
they are separate properties.
Right.
And they're
Oh.
duplexes that each property, each renter of the section maintains their side,
Absolutely.
their trash and their maintenance of the property. So, I would not go by its combined thing in that there are two fees that you're paying, and that would not be-
But at that point, we're splitting hairs.
Yes.
anyway,
On-
Because they did reduce the pile, hence the fee for service went away, but the initial infraction didn't go away.
Correct.
It's still there. I'm certainly not willing to rescind the citation.
No.
Do we want to hear from the
Yep.
property owner?
Please, if you would, identify yourselves and your relationship to the property.
Yes, my name is Mireya Vega and I'm the owner, one of the.
Ma'am, I need you to speak into the mic.
My name is Mireya Vega and I'm one of the owners of 1113133 Northeast 9th Court. I'll let my husband speak because he spoke to Jose personally, and the extension, we got an extension from, the process, code compliance process says that we're supposed to get a courtesy notice. We never got the courtesy notice. That's what it says in your website. We never got a courtesy notice. We got the card from Jose and from the code officer, the citation right away on the 26th. Actually, my tenant got it and she gave it to us on the 27th. I was going out of town, so I couldn't do anything. So I asked my husband to call and talk to the code officer and ask for an extension. I wanted to get a meeting because the card says that we were 14 cubic yards oversized. There's absolutely no way I can be 14 cubic yards oversized. It's not feet, it's size. Okay? So then my husband called and I'll let him explain because he's a little bit, not as long-winded as I am, so he can tell you what he spoke to them. But bottom line is, when my husband contacted Jose, we never had communications with code officer. We couldn't communicate with him. Jose was the
Ma'am,
one that,
into the microphone.
Jose was the one that contacted him at all times. My husband then wrote and contacted Jose. Jose told him that he had contacted the code officer Nibs. And my husband sent, out of an abundance of caution, an email on October 27th, letting the code officer know that we would request an extension of time. And we never heard from him. Then after my husband spoke to Jose on October 28th, he wrote an email and he says, following up on my earlier email, Jose Gonzalez with great ways said he talked to you and was told by you that you would grant us an extension until Tuesday. That means the next week. We never removed anything from the pile. And as a matter of fact, Jose was just beginning his supervisory position. When we had a meeting on the 30th to measure the pile, he came with a supervisor or a boss, I don't know who it is, have yet to get his name, And the boss explained that the storm drain that was there, I don't cover storm drains. I don't put yard, waste on, I don't, something can grow on there, it doesn't matter. And I don't like that grappler truck coming and booming down and picking up the trash where the storm drain is. So I put a little bit on the side. The gentleman that came with Jose said, that's okay. If she would have to have turned this section, the section that sticks out that you see in the picture, and she would not be over the 2.0 cubic feet. It wasn't because I have a duplex and I'm entitled to 4.0. On October 30th, I was told I was not over that limit. We did not take any trash out. Branches wither, they droop, they look smaller, but we did not touch it. We were told that it was going to be picked up on the 31st. We had gotten the extension till the 31st, so I don't know why we're not in compliance. Oh, sorry. And I have the email if you want to see it, from my husband too.
I think we've probably,
Yeah, that's,
Trust me.
his is small, so it probably got covered in that, so.
I just have a moment.
I'm sorry, but
My first involvement in this case was to tell her, pay the $25 before we get involved in this whole mess. But here we are 3 months later, and I'm here. The citation is dated October 26th. And she was going out of town on the 27th. We were given until the 28th to do our corrective action.
but you did get an extension to the 30th.
31st, Tuesday,
Okay.
in my email to Mr. Nibbs until the 31st. On the 31st, Jose came by, he collected the pile, he called me afterwards and said it's taken care of, no problem, it's the right size.
Well, according to Jose, it's because it was the right size and things had been removed.
We
That's
did not,
what it is.
I'm sorry. We did not remove one piece from that pile. And I'm sworn here, she is sworn in. We did not take a single piece off of that pile. And we've been in this village for over 25 years. This is the first time we've ever been cited from the Public Works Department. This is our first time here, and this is outrageous what's being done here.
Well, was it the lawn people who put the trash out there?
No, it was me. I was working on the duplex
Mm-hmm.
and I put the trash out. And I've done it, when I work on those duplexes, I do it and I know how much 2.0 approximately is going to be. I know when it's excessive.
And if I could just add one other thing, the business card that Jose left stuck on our door, you see the picture of it. It says we were over 14 cubic yards. I don't think you can find anywhere in your code that says 14 cubic yards. This is your supervisor. Now, we have plenty of emails here. Even I think the code officer refers to cubic feet.
Cubic yard.
Right. Did you look at all of the emails?
Typo.
That's not a typo when it's done 5 times.
It's in her email.
That's
We
not a
don't know which
typo.
yard.
Yes, it's yards. Right.
So I would like to add, when you look at the pictures, if that pile was at another property, not hers, I would have issued a violation, the $25 violation. That's number one. Number two, we have 8 violations in the administrative citation section where we can issue without a courtesy notice. I'm just answering to what she said. We don't have to give a courtesy notice. We just issue and it comes with a $25 fine.
Right. I was gonna point that out.
So we had nothing to do with the back and forth that they had with Great Waste. As far as I'm concerned, my officer found that trash pile in the picture, and that trash pile is a large pile. It
But-
is,
Excuse,
Yes, thank you, and I have the same opinion, and regardless of any extension, or that's between Great Waste or whomever,
absolutely.
nothing to do with the citation and the file. such as leaving a trash can out, past the allotted time limit. I would, make a motion to affirm.
Excuse
the-
me, could we have one?
Not finished, sir, to make a motion to affirm the, fine.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Seven point seven. Eleven three nine zero Northeast Eighth Avenue, case number EEN 21-0529. Maria Emanuel Thread.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. Violation. Chapter 16, permits required, double fee. Shed boarded up. In reference to this case, the property owner provided evidence communicating with a code officer from 2021, asking for a compliance reinspection. And we're asking for this case to be dismissed.
So the evidence shows that the officer didn't go back for that reinspection. Well, we did send an officer there to make sure that there is no shed, and he did confirm that the shed is not there. I know it's 2 years in between, 2 or 3 years. I mean, anything would have happened between then and now. However, we just had to go there and make sure
Was done.
it was done and it was a mistake on our part.
Make a motion in EEN 21-0529 that everything has been corrected and we dismiss the case.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
7.5. 1109 Northeast 118th Street, case number EEN 21-0987. Michael Babarno and Kelly Bain.
Callie Van and Michael Leobano.
Thank you.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. Violation, Chapter 19.1.3, license required. This case was brought before the board in the last hearing. And an order to dismiss, we're asking for an order to dismiss part of the case. The property owner provided some evidence that the electrical work was done by FP&L. And they got after the fact permits were applied for the door. And
The steps.
And the step.
the steps. In reference to the addition, we're asking for that to be dismissed. We went and checked the records, looked at satellite images, and found out that that was issued erroneously, and that there was no additional renovation on that property.
Let's take this one at a time.
One at a
I-
time, it's
I'm
four
sorry.
orders
The
of
way that
enforcement.
The violation was issued.
Ma'am, if you
So-
could, if you could.
Yeah.
Let's take this baby one at a time.
No, I was gonna, I'm in agreement with you, Janie, that one at a time, because I wanted to know about this impartial, just reading on the first page, and I
Exactly.
see there are different ones, so can we go with the one where FPL is involved? Yes.
So this is the
Code
case that,
director and code supervisor and code officer, are you comfortable with what's been provided by FPL, that in fact absolves that the homeowner, excuse me, the property owner was not involved in this. This is strictly an FPL thing.
The answer is yes. I looked at the evidence that they provided. I looked at the communication they had with FPL. And at the time this violation was issued, FPL was doing underground work in the village of Biscayne to install new lines. And I wasn't sure because when I looked at the pictures, there was a cable running straight into the wall, and I have never seen FPL do that, FPNL. However, looking at the evidence that was provided, FPNL did install that, and that is why we're asking for that part of the case to be dismissed.
Right. If make if there are not any questions, on case number EEN 21-0987, with regards to electrical work being done, to dismiss the case.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. The electrical portion only is
Correct.
being dismissed.
The part with the addition with the owners, because I had never been to the property. As you know, we are custodians of record. This case was issued 2-3 years ago. So the owners explained to us that there was no addition, but I wasn't just going to go by their word. I wanted to know exactly what was happening. So they were installing steps and they installed a door. When the officer passed by,
Give an appearance.
it gave an appearance that they had done a whole addition. But I looked at satellite pictures and I went years before they did that did the work at the house. And it shows that that building was the same. I sent the officer there to go and ensure that this building does look the way it looks in the satellite pictures, and then on the aerial view, from the street view and looking at it from the front of the house, there was no addition. The house was the way it was. So I'm also asking, we are asking that they dismiss that part of the order of enforcement.
And in EEN 21-0987, I would make a motion that we dismiss that portion that is applicable to the addition which did not occur.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So for the door, they have applied for an after-the-fact permit. We have a permit in the system now. They've also stay with the door. And then they have applied, I just passed out an application for relief on the fines that run during the time, between the time the order of enforcement was issued, comply by date, to the time they applied for the permit. It's, I believe, $15,900. And they're asking for relief on that. They paid the $50 application fee.
You'll bring that before us next.
It's right there in front of you.
The fine reduction before us also.
I just passed it out. There's two of them in the package.
I thought this was for documentation.
Right.
All right, wait a minute.
There's the application for the door and there's the application for the steps. The steps, they've applied for a permit. It's in the system, the after-the-fact permit, it's being reviewed. And they are also,
Being asked to hear the fine reduction tonight, even though that's not on the agenda.
that's correct. No,
I feel about this. But we will.
it's two applications, one for the steps and one for the door.
I really prefer, I have a very low comfort level with hearing things that are not agendized, because on the odd case that someone might be reading our agenda and might want to, for whatever reason, opine on the subject, I'm just really very uncomfortable at hearing things that are not public knowledge.
We respect that and would be happy as a department to move it to the next hearing so that we give the board time to review.
I would like to wait till the next hearing, and I'm also looking at the fact that, of what's being offered
Yeah, let's not
with the outs.
let's table the fine reduction portion to February, please.
I'll second the motion.
All in
If that
favor?
was a motion.
Yes, yes, sir. All in favor?
Aye.
We'll send you notices to appear for the next hearing.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Now, the permits are proper and applied for on the steps and on the door.
Yes, I verified that they are in the system.
You've settled the other two situations. Okay. Thank you both.
Thank you, guys. It wasn't on our agenda. What's the next one?
Next,
8.15,
8.16.
15. 1-5. 11501 Northeast 11th Place, case number CEN 22-115. Terrell, R. Barr, and Sally J.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. The violation on this property is chapter 5.6, off-street parking. In reference to this property, the driveway does not meet the design standards set forth in section 5.6.7. A check of the building department records showed that the property owner did apply or submit applications, but it's pending the January 22nd Planning Design and Review Board to see that application out.
But the deadline they were given would have been August 14th, according to the reinspection. The deadline for applying for the permits. Am I correct?
What was the question? I missed the question.
He's on the notice of violation from the 12th of June. The reinspection date shows us the 14th. That's the compliance date, am I correct?
That's correct.
But
If they had applied for permits before their compliance date, we wouldn't bring the case to the hearing.
But they didn't apply for the permits until
January,
January.
Today. The NOP.
It was applied for.
that's January 12th,
Well,
2023.
their
2023?
their compliance date was 8/14/2023. So we gave them 3 months,
And they didn't apply until January,
right,
4 months,
2024.
right?
2024.
That's September, October, November, December, January, we're working toward 5 months.
Well, we also had a courtesy notice. No, this one didn't have a courtesy notice.
One didn't
All right,
show that,
yes,
but right.
I see, I know.
And still, the original notice of violation was the 6th of June with, I'm sorry, June 12th with a compliance date of August 14th. And now we're looking at January. Any other questions?
I want to hear from the homeowner.
Okay, so Sally Barr, 11501 Northeast 11th Place. I'm part owner of the property along with my husband. He's traveling right now. So I actually, I did receive the notices. I know that we do have to comply and put in a driveway. So,
I need you into the mic,
Okay.
please.
better? Okay. So I did when I got the notice to appear on the 21st of December, I was actually out of town. My neighbor was nice enough to bring it in the house for me. So people didn't ride by and see that I wasn't home. So before this meeting tonight, I did a timeline of showing my efforts that we are trying to comply. I made copies. I don't know if anybody cares to see them or not.
Ma'am,
Oh, good.
yes, certainly.
I don't think I have enough, but. we can-
Even if
I-
it's just
I-
one, whatever, it's okay.
I
As
made
long as you have one, because it does have to go on the record.
Right, so, okay, yeah, and I'm sorry that I could have maybe emailed it before, but I didn't. So there's a lot of dates on here because we actually have questions about our driveway, like what we're gonna put in, the borders and things like that. So this shows that I actually had talked to Gage from Building and Planning. And I met with him.
Now, I don't know, do I need to recuse myself from this?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I discussed this with her going back to the time when I was on the commission. When we voted it, Sally's a friend and we've discussed it many, many times.
It'd be like me discussing it with her. You've discussed it during the period of time you're on the board. Can't do that.
Okay.
Not this board, I don't think, was,
Yeah.
because I didn't even know she was.
Last year, the 23rd.
Oh,
I'm sorry, not the 23rd, 2023.
2023. Oh, okay, okay.
Do we have to have the board member recuse herself?
I recuse myself, no problem.
I'm sorry, Judy. I didn't even know she was on.
No, no.
I'm so sorry.
We have to know what our parameters are.
Oh, okay,
It's not up
okay,
to you.
because, okay,
It's not
because,
up to you. You were
okay.
just trying to glean information.
well, the thing is, because I did meet with Gage here, but I wasn't on their agenda that night. But I asked him to come down and look up the driveway, but he's like, no, just meet with me here, but not be put on the agenda. So,
I have to add that we have added her to the planning and zoning meeting, the upcoming one.
oh, right, okay, yeah.
We did. add
Oh,
it.
good. Okay, so that'll be, and I paid the fee and everything for that.
Yes, ma'am.
So that'll be Monday. I'm on their agenda, the Planning and Design Board. Because I have questions and I want them to, I'm gonna take pictures for them to look at.
Sure.
Because I have questions about the
For
borders. and things.
Future reference, the neater, cleaner, everybody follows the rules way to do it is put together all your questions, all your everything,
Mhm.
and ask to be put on P and Z. I will forever call it P and Z. I know it's called something.
Me
else.
too.
Asked to be put on their agenda. That way you're asking your questions in public.
Okay,
You're on record, they're on record. There's no issue where they'd have to recuse themselves or something. It's all very public.
okay, I get it now. So I'm on their agenda for Monday for all the questions, so
Sure.
I guess I'm sorry, but I guess I'm asking for an extension and to not be fined because I
That's
wanna,
The hard part, because you're 5 months past the compliance date.
okay, I get it.
And
But am I gonna be fined?
again, a crucial thing is to be fair, but to be equitable to everyone. And
Mhm.
being past the compliance date makes it a little difficult. You know, we can work in terms of like with deadlines and things like that, but
Mhm.
again, if we forgive that fine and you're past the compliance date,
Yeah, we have several before us, and I'm with the same as Janie in that a lot of this had been communicated with the village.
Mhm.
You know, it would show an effort to the village that, you know, there were steps being taken. I'm just,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
I
so
don't see
talk
anything
to
with,
Judy or Gage or whatever, but you weren't talking to the folks.
Can I present something else?
Sure.
Okay, so on, August 9th of 2023, I sent an email to, Miss Grant, who's the code compliance supervisor. I guess that's, okay. And I was asking for an extension for the driveway thing, and she, said, I have the email. I'm sure that she has it too. No, this is, I still have this in my email, but this is the only copy I have, but you can. Did I give you the extension? I don't
Yes.
remember. And thank you. And I still messed up because I asked for another one and she was kind enough to give me an extension until, she said, your second request is granted till December 31st of 2023. And unfortunately, we just weren't, because of money and a lot of different things, we just weren't able to do it.
All right, I don't have as big a problem with
And-
that.
okay,
My
and-
concern was August now.
Because I asked her in August for, here's the, here.
If the code officer granted an extension, that
She did, yeah, she did, because I wrote to her on the August 9th, I believe it was.
You just refreshed my memory. I didn't,
Yes.
I didn't remember to print this email. I'm sorry about that.
Mhm.
She did ask for the extension and then I gave a second extension. I actually got in trouble with the commission for doing that.
Whoops, I'm sorry.
Again, I'm going to say with driveways, we've had so many issues where people have different kind of problems and understanding that these are very expensive projects. I was inclined to give people more time. However, I have to say, while she's here, that it is not up to me. I have to come to this board.
But when you really stop and think about it, and this is not, somehow it is just not sunk in.
Right.
Deadline actually was January 2nd of last year
Right.
for
Right.
full compliance.
Correct.
In reality, the city has been outrageously generous,
Mhm.
going a full year more. It was a full year in the first place. Now a full year more. Now we're working with people. We're doing the best we can to make the rules get followed and to be fair to people and to work it out for the community as a whole and the individual.
Right.
So,
She was one of those people that actually took the time to ask for time. There's many violations we've issued where we never heard anything.
means the world.
Right.
Thank
Really
you,
does.
because I am really am worried about this, and we really are trying to comply, but we're
Yes.
having some
But again, I
difficulties.
go back to, you did give the extension. Okay.
Mhm,
I did.
mhm.
That
I
was
did
my-
grant her
That was
two
one of the points I
extensions.
wanted to ask was there communication with the village?
There was communication. She did ask for time, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. I would
Thank
just
you.
like to see a deadline by which she has to come into compliance with the permit. And if that doesn't happen, set the daily fine, but I would not set an initial fine since you did work with. How do you feel?
No, I am too, because we're talking about now just a total of 12 days.
Mhm.
And one or two of them was already a holiday with regards to
Correct.
the village being closed. Janie, I'm in agreement. Had you not communicated with the village, it wouldn't be in agreement.
Okay.
And the permit's been applied for, and when does P and Z? This is gonna.
Monday.
It's Monday night. I'll
be
be
hearing that.
talking to them with pictures and all sorts of things.
Then my motion would be that in I'm sorry, did you have anything more to add, Sally?
I guess just like once I meet with the planning and design board, then do I still have a little time to get everything done, or because we still have to come up with money to
Permits are,
get the
months?
gravel and
6 months? They are 6 months. And usually when a person is now in the system applying for permits, meeting with planning and zoning, we do give them time because it takes a while before permits can be looked at and.
right, yeah.
okay. Oh,
But-
okay.
My thing would be just to set a deadline for to have.
The permit,
Right.
okay.
Documentation, and that's all done. So I was thinking, to come into
We would recommend 60 days.
come into
60
compliance
Mhm.
by obtaining a permit. If she's on this week, by February 19th.
Why don't we do 60 to 90 days? That way, if P and Z actually has to hear it because they want it tweaked or something, they have another opportunity to resubmit it at the next hearing.
Absolutely.
And then to have the village do what they need to do to get the permit ready to be pulled.
March 20th.
Okay.
You good with that?
I'll be good with that.
Okay,
Okay.
so my motion is that in case CEN 22-115, that you come into compliance by pulling the permit by March 20th.
Mhm.
If it's not pulled and completed and paid for by March 20th, then a $250 daily fine will accrue.
Okay.
I'll second.
In favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Sally.
Thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate that. Did you need that for the record? Thank you.
There's two cases. You have another case, Sally? Which one are you talking about? No?
Eight point 16. 11503 Northeast 11 Place. CEN 22-116 Sandra Patricia.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. Violation in this property was chapter 5.6, off-street parking. The driveway does not meet the design standards set forth in section 5.6.7. At this time, the property is non-compliant. The property has some issues, and this time I'd like the property owner to kind of explain what those issues are pertaining to the trees and septic tanks.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Corso. I'm the property owner of 11503 Northeast 11 Place. When I received the violation in November, on October, when I spoke to Mr. Mix, I'm sorry.
Nibs.
And Mr. Gutierrez about my problem. My issue is that, it's not that I don't want to comply with the city, is that the things that I have in front of my property don't allow me to do the driveway the way that is stated by the code compliance. I have an oak tree on one side and then I have the septic tank on the other side. I do have pictures that I can show to you if you need me to. So that way you know exactly what I'm talking about. And basically, the only thing that I can do there is put gravel. And it has to be close, the closest to my neighbor, which is located 11501. And basically parallel with the gate that I have. Everybody that I have talked to, they said that for the driveway to be put on the other side, which is basically what is stated now, I believe in the zoning department, I have to remove roots from the oak tree. If I do that, it's gonna weaken the tree. It cost me, since I moved into the property until now, to be able to save that tree. And also there's an area of that tree that goes to the other side of my neighbor. And basically, if I start messing with that area, is going to, that branch and all that side is gonna fall apart. So basically what I asked the commissioner, the code compliance officer, is to give me an extension. They said that they were gonna do that. I sent an email. They told me to follow up. I never got a reply from that. And then I got the notice of appearance. I do have all the information for the driveway companies that I have contacted. They all have told me the same thing. Basically, I'm just waiting to get an idea of the pricing and what can they do to be able to present it to you guys. That's the reason why I haven't pulled off the permits, because I have to work with what I have in my property.
Question, where I see two cars parked on this one picture, one on this other, what is the reasoning why a driveway can't, an approved parking surface with an approach can't go in there?
Because in one side,
I'm not talking about the tree.
yeah, and the other side,
Let's ignore.
the septic tank there, I cannot be moved. That's the reason why I have to have, he's so close.
In the water.
Microphone, please. Give her a microphone.
Right.
Is the septic tank.
Is that to the right of, is that facing the house? Is it to the right or to the left? All right.
Okay, I even have you see the water,
Meter?
water meter. Yes, okay. Oh, you can, no, this is for you. You can keep it. basically, if you can see here, this is the gate that I have that divides
Right.
my side from my neighbor's property.
Why couldn't it go?
And then basically it has to be very close to this area.
Is there a setback issue? Does anybody know? Is there a setback problem? Is there a setback
And
problem?
basically,
Because if there's not a setback problem, there's no reason that couldn't, and there can't be a,
I
there
actually.
better not be a setback problem. There's a gate.
I'm saying that is because I got a ticket from the city when I parked too close to that area. So, I literally have to come and spoke to the city and tell them that the reason why I was parking so close is because the tree, while I was saving it, the branch were falling on top of my
Yeah,
car.
don't get me wrong. I mean, I appreciate you don't want to touch that beautiful tree. That's,
So why? To the gate, I got a ticket.
This is a very unique situation and
So that's
our,
why
yes.
I got a ticket parking there.
She has her survey here that shows where the septic tank is situated. While she can drive over it, one second.
ma'am, you need to pick up the mic. No, stay here, pick up the mic and bring it over.
While she can drive over the septic tank,
Can't put a driveway
it's-
over it.
It's
You can
very
put a
possible,
driveway.
it's very possible that zoning may not allow her to put that. And while I'm not zoning and I'm not confirming that, I'm saying it's possible.
You have to have access.
Our suggestion is you schedule to go before the board, the zoning board, so they can confirm that a driveway cannot be built in the way that you're saying. There may be a different way that they can suggest to do it.
Here, I even have a permit that I put when I changed the drain field that basically says that this is a septic tank here, this is the area, and here, which is this area that closest to the gate, to that, my neighbor, that's basically where I have to park my car. And then in here is where they have the access to be able to clean the septic tank. I just had them on my property on November because I
Yeah.
cleaned the septic tank, so they were the ones that
How
told me.
does everyone feel about tabling this, having this property owner get on the next
PNC.
E&Z meeting, bring everything? You will not be filling any forms out yet. You'll sit down with them on their agenda, bring all your pictures, bring your survey. They know the setback issues and the different issues, and they can help you formulate. You do have to have an approved surface on your property. That has to be. They can help with some guidance as to.
They also have an architect
I'm
on their
sorry,
board.
yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the area that they have is where I have the roots of the tree, that I have the arbor trees. I have the information for the arbor trees that went to my property. Like I said,
Yes, ma'am. We understand, and this is why we're saying this is a very unique situation.
unique
However,
situation.
a code officer, myself, cannot do anything about this. I cannot say this is not a violation. The violation is there.
No,
However,
that's what I'm saying. It's not that I don't want to comply with you guys. It's just that, like I said,
we
the
understand.
situation
Right.
is
We understand.
completely different compared
From,
to the other
Case
ones
by
that
case,
that
like I
they
was
have.
saying, every case is unique. Your case is very unique. I agree with you.
You need to go to PNZ.
And you need to go to the design board so they can look at your unique situation. They may have unique suggestions for you.
On P&Z, there are designers, architects. They deal with this sort of thing consistently. And they also know our ordinances, so they're gonna be the best equipped in the village to help you work it out.
No, and basically that's what I want, but before going, I wanted to have like estimates
Yeah.
from other I spoke to like 15 driveway companies, different ones, and then some don't do gravel, other ones they came and saw me, and I don't want the same thing that happened when FPL was doing the underground cables.
Instead of
that I-
you spinning your wheels, trying to get information that might not be applicable, go sit with
P&Z.
P&Z first.
Yeah, no, and I completely understand that. The only reason why I'm saying that I'm doing all this beforehand is because when when they did the power lines that they went underground, FPL came and another person came and I explained the situation to them and they told me, yes, that was not a problem. They weren't even gonna put that transformer in the area, the only area that they're telling me that I have allowed to be able to put a driveway. And then basically I had to reach out to the mayor, Mr. Diaz, I believe, made, Mario Diaz was on, the manager, the village manager, and explained to him that they were trying to put something, a power line on
Right,
top
right,
of the
right.
septic tank. And they literally came, FBI, when I spoke to they sent the contractor, when
Okay,
I spoke to the contractor.
wait a minute,
it's-
may I interrupt? What,
See, so it's.
has there been communication with the village? That's what I want to know right now.
Yes, I've been, I went and I spoke to the two gentlemen over here and explained my situation to them.
I can tell you that our officers would not be equipped to be able to handle a situation like
But
this. And
P and Z is.
I just want to know between courtesy notice back in 2022, the notice of violation in June of 2023, and then when it was a notice to appear, a notice to appear here, was there communication with the village as to the unique circumstances of this property?
personally spoken to her, I'm meeting her for the first time.
I have the that I sent, and like I said, and when I spoke to these two gentlemen that are present here.
That is thank you, Jill. That is a big concern because considering, this is November. This is November and the notice of violation came out in October. Okay.
So there has been some attempt and some
Yes.
correspondence with the.
And I'm
the-
sorry I didn't go right away after
the village.
October, but I suffered from epilepsy and I had a seizure, so I was,
Yeah,
I was
within
unable
a few weeks.
All right, well, I'd like to make a motion if I may. I'd like to make a motion that we table this until, and give the resident opportunity to go before the P and Z with the concerns and to hear it. I don't know if they have time, it won't have time for this next P and Z hearing, but the one after.
Would they take a walk on? Do you think
February 5 would be.
February 5?
Right.
So then she could come back at our February meeting because we're the 17th.
Today's the 17th.
Yeah,
We have a meeting next month.
we're the 21st. in
Okay,
February.
and then, and bring it back before us with, recommendations and the P and Z and status of the case.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
And that was in case number CEN-22-115.
Okay.
Can you come to the?
Second,
Wait a
all
minute.
in-
I'm sorry, that was in case number CEN-22-116.
So
I'll second it.
Judy, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
I'm so sorry,
So-
so I'm clear. What is it that I have to do?
You need to go to the P and Z meeting, be prepared, go into the city hall and talk to them to get on the February 5th agenda, I believe it is.
Come to the office tomorrow and see me. We'll talk about it and we'll have you scheduled.
And then you'll come back at our February meeting and give us an update.
Okay, so I don't.
You're
so
okay
far,
right
so
now.
good.
So,
I'm good.
yes, we-
Okay.
An extension.
Okay, that's what I.
You're good.
Good, that's fine. Thank you so much.
You're okay. Yeah, no, that should stay because if that stuff you showed here. Okay. I mean, well. Yes, legally that needs to stay.
See you tomorrow. In the office from 9 to 5, 4? Anytime. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
7.8. 11659 Griffin Boulevard. Case number EEN 21-0737 BP Apartments LLC. Care of registered agent Leonardo.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. In reference to this property, the violation was chapter 6.3 C, dumpsters. On June 22nd, 2021, there was observed dumpsters without enclosures on the property.
Are the dumpsters still there?
The dumpsters have been removed and were replaced with bins on January 1st, 2024.
So it was closed this year,
The dumpsters were removed.
not till this year.
And let me submit a photo of what was taken of the property.
I think we have that. We should be able
Yeah, we have the ones from 2021.
to- So it was, you first saw removal in January of this year.
That is correct.
Twenty
twenty-four. The daily fine looks like it stopped on the May 23rd of last year, or did somebody just not update it, or is that what we're working with?
So the computation we have is a little off. I believe this should still be running. There is no compliance date for this one because we don't have an application in the system for this dumpster. He's appeared before the Planning and Zoning Board. However, there was no follow-up from that. We have no idea what he's doing. Yes, sir.
Okay, first of all, the dumpster was
Your
put
name,
in.
sir?
Oh, I'm sorry, Octavio Londano, representing BP Apartments LLC. I'm the owner. I put the dumpster because we kept getting fined because of the trash cans, the tenants leaving them outside. And I figured this would put a stop to it. We had code officers come by and said, well, where you put it doesn't work. Then we moved it to different places. And then they finally came and said, where we have it on the pictures, that was fine. I was never told that I had to have an enclosure, nothing. The first time that I found out about enclosure was the beginning of, the ending of 2022, beginning of 2023. Okay, so then I started trying to comply because I came and tried to get the permit for the enclosure and what have you. And then I noticed that I was being charged for the trash pickup anyways through the city collection taxes. I was still being charged for that and I was paying for the dumpster. So I said, the dumpster is being such a pain in the back that I said, let's just get rid of it. And I got rid of the dumpster right around May of last year. And I got called from the city. They asked me about the dumpster and I said about complying with the enclosure. I says, look, the dumpster is gone. I found somebody that can come take the trash cans outside and bring them back in so we don't get fined. And that was it. I wasn't told anything else until now that I'm here, summons to appear.
There's been several communication with him. If you notice in the package, there was a time when he applied for relief on this amount. So he did come to the office. We did email him. So we have communicated several times. It's the first time I'm hearing that about his decision to remove the dumpster. We've been waiting for him to build an enclosure.
Yeah.
For the dumpster. So he decided not to, and I wasn't aware.
And part of the reason why I removed the dumpster also was because the trash company was bringing a huge truck through the driveway and was destroying the driveway, destroying all the
Yes.
It's
plants.
a whole other problem.
Yes,
And the median.
Median.
yes, correct,
Believe me, that's a whole other problem.
correct.
Okay.
But if you notice,
No, I mean,
picture.
and I did notice, I wish I could remember the situation, but I do remember on May's agenda of last year, we had the fine reduction request. We took no action in May of last year.
And then he has, is it 2 or 3 containers? I'm looking at this and I'm thinking capacity. There's too many apartments for these little bit of containers you have here. And secondly, they are not where they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be behind the building. We cannot be looking at them from the street. So several violations there, even though we haven't issued them. We're still wanting to work out these
Can I
dumpsters.
solve that by putting a small fence in front of the?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well,
And you'll need a permit for that.
You need a permit.
Okay.
all right.
Planning and zoning.
Given that we don't have an up-to-date fine assessment, I hate to table another thing. But may I make a recommendation that we table this so the
Yes,
village
sir.
can go ahead and give us an up-to-date, fine?
Find them out. Do we?
Any motion to table
Are
it?
you looking for what?
Into the mic, guys.
We can go with that.
As well as, or if there's any other mitigating circumstances. And we give the property owner, if they want to come back before us with a fine reduction request at that time, more than welcome, but right now with not having up-to-date figures,
Absolutely. I'm looking at the figures myself and the date on the previous application for reduction. That's the number we have. So obviously this fine has been running for a few more months. So we would like to give the current number and for him to do a new application if he's applying for relief.
yes, yeah, I'll make a motion to table to the next hearing.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Eight point 22. 11504 Northeast 11th Place. Case number CEN 22-119. Washington. Can you pronounce your middle and last name for me, please?
Yes, I'm Washington Gamboa,
Mm-hmm.
the owner of the half owner of 11504 Northeast 11th Place.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. Violation on this property is chapter 5.6, off-street parking. On this property, the driveway does not meet the design standards set forth within section 5.6.7. The property owner for this was issued a building permit on November 17th, 2023. At this time, I'd like the property owner to explain, at this time, I'd like the property owner to, give some more details as what is happening with the property.
He has an approved permit, correct?
I've been applying for a permit, I've been
Sir,
complying,
sir.
the driveway is done.
One moment, sir.
We're not quite
Okay,
finished.
okay.
Am I, we are looking at an approved permit, am I correct?
Let me verify if that is a building permit application or approved permit.
It says building permit issuance, status issued.
That is correct.
So looks to me like we're looking at an approved permit.
Yes.
Okay. So the question I have, the compliance date was given as August 14th. The permit was applied for on November 17th. Was there any communication in between with the property owner asking for an extension?
You did communicate?
Yeah, I spoke to you. I
Oh,
spoke to you and then.
let me see.
Okay. I didn't have the permit pay here, just in case they say there's no permit, I pay for the permits here.
Yes, we
The
have.
driveway is already done, almost done, I just have little.
Yes, I can
cosmetics to
confirm
do.
that he did talk to me. And I'm sorry about that. I talk to a lot of people every day, so.
I
Yes.
mean,
No, but, cause like I
I'm
said,
complying, I already complied.
my only question was 3-month lag time from August to November.
You know, I don't know, it takes some time to do the driveway. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people have been working. I've been doing this since 10 years old. And it takes time to get contractors working, all like that, get the paperwork notarized, and make sure things gonna go run. But I did spoke to him after I got did I say I'm gonna need more time. I asked from the get-go, okay, this is not gonna do it day and night. So I've been in the office many times. You can check the cameras. Many times I spoke to the inspectors and spoke to a lot of people.
Yes.
So I've been there in person. I usually do things in person, so there's record that I've been there.
It has been, yes.
And
Yes,
like I said, the
I-
driveway is already done.
That's one of the crucial things, sir. Yes, you applied for the permit, it's done. But when there's that 3-month lag time between a compliance date and when a resident complies, I have to refer back to the code department to say, was there open lines of communication?
there
That's
was.
different from someone just ignoring it.
No, there was.
No,
there
He
was.
did, come to Village Hall several times.
No, only with her, with the inspectors, with everybody, and you know, I've been complying.
Okay, so Doreen, your testimony is that he has been, communicating with the village and has, sought out, some extension somewhat. Okay.
So my question
Wait,
for the
whoa,
board.
just, sir, you might just want to let us finish. Might benefit. If nobody has any further questions, I'd like to make a motion that on case number, CEN 22-119, that, the property is in compliance and to, dismiss the case.
Second.
I think we would use the word close.
Close the case,
Just
not dismiss, close the case. I stand corrected.
The chairperson is correct.
And Judy second.
I second to close the case.
Aye.
All right, sir, you're
Thank you.
good.
That's
Thank you so
what I
much.
want to hear, that the case will be closed. That would have been my question. Thank you very much. The case is
Done.
closed. That's all what it
All
is.
right.
Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Have a good night.
No, it's okay. Thank you so much for getting it done.
Seven point one. 923 Northeast 108th Street. Case number EEN 19-1953. Brandon Lenar.
Lino. Brandon Lino.
Brandon Lino.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. The violation is Chapter 16, permits required, double fee. On this property, the property owner installed a wooden fence without a permit. There was construction, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, no permits were obtained. At this time, the property owner is non-compliant. And we're asking the board to order to impose a lien at this time.
The notice of violation is going on to almost 5 years. That was April of 2019. Even the order was June of that year. And there is no compliance whatsoever, if I'm understanding correctly.
That's correct. We are custodians of record and we did do our research. I looked everywhere to find a document, a permit, something that would say they were doing something. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find anything.
We're
And
looking at 2019 and we're now in 2024.
Intent to lien was done, I believe, in
No,
August last year.
August of 2022.
But, we had to bring it back to get the order
Sure.
to impose because, the time has lapsed and the numbers have changed.
I mean, that's all I'll say. Next.
I had no questions. I looked at the documentation, came to the same same tax.
I'd like to know if the homeowner understands what's gone on and the amount that you're looking at. Do you have something to say
I'm free to
about?
speak now. I don't, I don't want to interrupt.
I'm sorry. Sir, if you would identify yourself, please,
Hi,
and
how you doing? I'm Brandon Lino, homeowner of the property.
you do understand how long these fines have been accruing. Permits haven't been pulled. We're looking at 5 years.
I understand, but it's been like a lot of hardships,
Okay.
and it's no excuse, in retrospect. But I've noticed an extension, 30 days to start the permit process, get surveys.
Before we do that, has there been any communication has there been any communication with the village over the years
I've come in a couple of times.
with regards to this issue?
Meeting Brandon for the first time. I thought you were much older. I'm sorry. Just looking at the paperwork, but I personally haven't seen any communication. I wouldn't speak for the officers that were there before us because they issued this violation.
I spoke to, it was a different officer at the time. It was a white lady.
But since the intent to lien was filed in August of 2022, nothing.
No.
All right. If nobody has any questions, I'd like to make a motion in case number EN-19-1953 to affirm the move to lien, to direct the village to move to lien and for the accrued daily amount of, what was it, 82,000?
Whatever the account.
The accrued amount as of today, plus the administrative costs of $250 and filing fees is applicable.
I would second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Seven point two, 923 Northeast 108th Street, case number EEN 20 dash.
Right. Before we go on to the next. Is it the same? All right, sorry. No.
Should be
All right.
7.2,
Okay.
right?
I just wanted to mention to Brandon that after this ruling is made, you still can appeal this case before the commission because now a lien is going to be filed against the property, but you can appeal for a reduction. Once you apply for the permits get approved, you can apply to the commission for a reduction.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Okay, on 7.2, any information, any? Okay.
So 7.2, 923 Northeast 108th Street. The case number is EEN 200413. Brandon.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. The violation is Chapter 16, permits required. On this property, a garage was enclosed and no permits were issued or has been obtained to date. This time the property is non-compliant and we're asking the board to impose a lien on the property.
It's same as the last situation. There's nothing different.
Has the property been enclosed?
Yes.
Okay, without permits? Okay, well, that's,
I'd like to make
That's
a
it?
motion to direct the village to move forward with the lien administrative costs of $250 and the applicable filing fees.
I'll second.
Oh, go ahead, Judy.
Okay, I'll second it.
Again, I would like to mention to Brandon that compliance would be for you to come in and apply for permits.
Right.
Then you can apply to the commission for a reduction. If you decide not to go with that process, you can put back the property the way it was, like there was a garage there. You can remove the wall and put the garage back. That's
Oh.
another way to comply.
But let him know that that requires a permit.
That's correct. That requires a permit as well. You can come in and get a demolition permit and
As far as the last case with the
the
gate,
garage or
the door, the gate
the
door,
fence.
I inherited the property like that. It was a hurricane. The door was knocked off, and then that's the only thing that happened. Then I was hit with a permit saying that I installed a fence without a permit when I inherited the property like that. So I didn't know what changed, the matter of fact. And then the last time I came here, about 2 years ago for that situation, I thought it was gone because I explained that.
I wasn't here 2 years
No,
ago.
she wasn't. It was a different board. Some of you guys still were here. He was here at the time. He was.
But nothing goes away. I mean, everything
Yeah,
stays on
well,
record until you close out
right.
the case.
I know I came to the office and I paid some fines before. I thought I took care of it.
So I'll be willing to go through the cases with you
Right,
if
I
you,
work
if you don't
definitely
mind.
with
Yep,
Ms. Grant.
right.
I definitely work with Ms. Grant to correct the issues.
Raise the mic up.
I'm sorry. It's better?
Because what happens is these mics are real, they're not sensitive is the problem, and
Okay, so I talk
people
much better
watching
now.
on TV can't quite hear us.
Okay.
We need to take a vote on this.
Next census?
I think we did take a vote.
Yeah.
You got more.
In a second, I don't have a vote.
That's cool.
Not a call for a vote.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
I should be saying opposed. But motion passes 4-0.
8.3. 8.3. 923 Northeast 108th Street, CEN-23-506. Bernard Leonard.
Brandon Leno.
Sorry, Brendan. So sorry. Eight point three.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. Violation, section 11.9, swimming pools. On December 14, 2023. Violation was issued for a swimming pool that does not meet the water clarity standards. A reinspection was made today. And I met up with the property owner in reference to that swimming pool. The swimming pool did not meet water clarity standards.
Nothing had improved today.
It was non-compliant.
It was compliant the day that he was supposed to come back on the 29th. I was out of town. Just got back. He seen me bringing my bags in.
I'm gonna be really blunt with you.
Yeah.
When it comes to swimming pools, there is no excuse. It's a safety issue. If you're out of town, find someone. But kids can wander in, animals can wander in, becomes a mosquito breeding ground. It's in South Florida, it's a big problem and you've got to stand.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but based upon legal, I took a picture the day it was 29th, December 29th, it was blue. Came back today from out of town. Like you said, it's no excuse. But it was blue the day that it needed to be blue and clear.
Any questions?
I have a picture and photo and timestamp.
I have to go by what the code officer said today, because he did re-inspect today. Am I correct, Luciano?
That is correct.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
Make a motion in case number CEN-23-506 that a violation occurred. That's a fine of $250 plus a $250 admin fine. To come into compliance by It takes you 2 weeks to get the order of enforcement out?
Not quite.
No, a week?
February 2nd should be fair. Let me check my calendar. Let me, hang on. Yep, because I should have them to sign mid next week, which means by February 2nd. We should have it.
2 weeks is January the 31st.
Okay.
Compliance by January the 31st.
Is there any way to get the fines, reduced or removed?
You need to comply first. Always,
No, I'm just asking.
yeah. You
I'm
can
asking.
come before, they'll get with you about how you can get a fine reduction.
Right.
Okay. But for right now, it's a violation, and then the village, there, we put in administrative, fee for all the cases that have violations have occurred.
Okay.
But if you can get, just get it clear and have them come by and inspect it.
Call us for inspection, okay.
So compliance date of 131, 250 fine, 250 admin, and
A daily fine of $250 per day. If not in compliance, come February the 1st.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Once we come and inspect for compliance, we can have you do the application for relief.
Okay.
February the 1st, $250 a day.
923 Northeast 108th Street. Case number CEN 23507. Brandon,
8.4.
Nino.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park.
Is this 8.4?
Yes. Yes. 8.4.
Violations, section 11.9.1, swimming pools, protective fence. On December 14, 2023, the swimming pool was observed with partial protective perimeter fence, which is a safety hazard. Contact was made with the property owner today in reference to a reinspection of said swimming pool, and it was non-compliant. I advise the property owner to put a perimeter fence around the pool and also to try to fix the wooden gates leading towards the pool.
This has to be permitted.
That's correct.
Well, if fence enclosure, my question is there a perimeter fence around the entire property that meets the criteria? Because you don't necessarily have to have a.
No,
fence
right,
around the
right.
pool if
Most of us.
the property has a fully
Right,
fenced.
right.
Or if they have from that property a netting or whatever that covers the pool as per code.
Is the entire yard fenced?
The property is not fenced at this time.
The perimeter fence they have for the pool is just open on two sides. I think they can fix that. It's an easy fix. They can just
So we
add
need
pieces that are mixed.
to extend this for permitting situation.
Right.
Okay, good. Anybody like to make a motion?
I don't understand. You said something about permitting. I didn't understand. You just said something about
Sorry,
permitting. Said something needs to be permitted.
You need to get it fixed.
Okay.
See, there was a warning pool hazard. issued out.
Yeah,
May
Mr.
of
County.
November the 14th. This should have been taken care of quickly.
Yeah,
Um, this is one where typically, this is where we have routinely, assessed a life safety issue fine. And I think now we have been, yes, because of the new guidance we've been given by our city attorney. So I'd like to, say, due to the severity of the fact that the pool is open, find a violation has occurred on case number CEN-23-507. Violation has occurred. Assess a fine of $250, administrative cost of $250, and to come into compliance by given, how soon can you get this out?
Well, this is a safety hazard, and I would say, Brandon, fix that fence in a week at least, okay?
soon can you get me the orders to sign?
Well, I mean, regardless of that, I think we can go ahead and
issue an
since the
order for him to
property
fix
owners
it.
here.
Yeah.
And, have it, come into compliance within 5 days or $250 day per fine, 5 days from today.
That would be my question, not so much when he gets the order, although that's crucial, is what is the legal minimum? And in this case, I'd like to keep it as minimum as possible.
It's a safety hazard, so it should be immediate. However, a week, 5 days is good.
Is fair.
Yeah.
Okay, well, by, January the 24th. Or if not, a $250 per day fine thereafter.
I'll second. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, Judy.
It's already 3/4 of the fence there. Needs to finish up with the other 1/4.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Eight point 14. 11501 Northeast 10th Avenue. Case number CEN 22-108. Emmanuel Otis.
Luciano Nibs, Pool Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. Violation, Chapter 5.6, off-street parking. In reference to this violation, the driveway does not meet the design standards set forth in Section 5.6.7. The property owner did a building application submitted on January 11th, 2024, and it's pending review at the Planning and Design Review Board for January 22nd, 2024.
You got a courtesy notice back in December of 2022. The notice of violation in June of last year with the compliance date of August 14th. He didn't comply until, as far as filling out the permits, till January. Was there communication in that gap time in terms of staff working on an extension?
No, there was no communication or reference for an extension on this property.
There was no emails, no calls, no, okay. Ward?
No, I have no questions. Well, after nobody else, I'll wait for the resident, if they have documentation, that they've, requested an extension or was in communication with the village. I'd like to see it. If not, I'm glad the permit's been applied for.
Please, you state your name and your relationship to the property.
Emmanuel, Emmanuel Ortiz, I'm the owner of the property. I just applied for the permit. I have not applied before because I'm doing a major remodel on the home, so I was planning to do everything at once, but now that, you know, this was a violation, so I just submitted drawings to get the driveway done, separate from the rest of the permit.
If none,
Motion?
I'd like to make a motion that on case number CEN 22-108, a violation did occur. Sets a fine of $250, administrative costs of $250, and to have a permit pulled by February the 19th, if not a $250 a day fine thereafter.
I'll second. Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, Mr. Ortiz.
Eight point one. 665 Northeast 117th Street, case number CEN 23-364, 665 Homes LLC, care of registered agent Park Redmond.
Rafael Gutierrez, co-compliance officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. As a custodian of record of this case number CEN 23364, on August 31st, citation was issued to the property in violation of section 16.13, exterior painting. The property is in need of exterior pressure cleaning. The shutters needs to be pressure clean as well. Windows needs to be clean, and the exterior walls needs to be painted. I've been in communication with the current property owners, and as of today, they reply by stating that they're working on a schedule for the repairs with their contractor. So at this point, I'm asking for they're asking for a continuance.
I have a problem with that on several levels. Number one, the notice of violation was in August of last year. The communication didn't come until clearly after they got the notice to appear. And as far as the reasoning, let me read it. We would like to request an extension for that hearing to take place. The property needs a deeper analysis of the repairs to be made, and some of the changes or modifications might need required permits, and the process might take some time. All of it's irrelevant to the need to clean up the property. Yes, we know that if you're going to make extensions and additions and whatever's, it's going to take you some time. Well, first of all, you're already 5 months behind. But secondly, what has that got to do with at least cleaning it up in the meantime? At the very, very least, we should expect pressure cleaning.
If I may ask, the current owner, this property was just sold about a month ago. So
Probably less.
so now,
For sale.
yeah, I'm sorry?
Currently for sale?
It's
This house
closed.
has just been
Um,
bought by the new owners. It's, I think, less than 2 weeks or 3 weeks. As soon as they bought the property, they came to the village to find out if there were liens and issues. We gave them what we had, which was 2 cases. They did,
The email is part of the new group.
yes.
Yes.
They did their due diligence and they paid the abatement fine because the city had cut the grass a few months ago. They paid that fine and then they are working to see how they can renovate the house.
Yes.
Brand new owners. I understand.
Sorry about that.
At least not requiring a pressure wash. I can see not requiring the painting right now, because if they're going to be doing structural work, what's the point? But surely they can pressure wash.
And that's why they're asking for time on this particular violation, because they need, they just bought the property, like I say, and they want to clean it up. And they are making decisions on how they go forward, whether to.
For why? How it taking forever?
There's,
People don't have to look at that.
Janie, if
There-
they're new owners, if they're new owners and they just once they receive the notice that there was a violation, I mean,
What do you mean they have to do it tomorrow?
No.
I understand, but
You know, at least within month?
The-
Wash? I mean, that's-
I'm just, I
I
would.
would
like
say they
to-
think
contacted
that-
us within weeks.
Excited.
Right. That's another way we can do it. We can recite them, however, they have asked for a continuance in writing.
Oh.
Because they need time to clean up the property. It's up to the board to rule how they see this. I would recommend that we give them the time, because they're hardly in that, the sale happened, I think, 2 weeks ago.
I was gonna say, there was extensive work inside.
Mm.
Hopefully that was permitted
We have no idea. We've never been inside, but
by what I saw online. That's all, because
see.
it popped up on my feed.
wow.
well, the new owners are showing good faith. I mean, they're stating that, starting next week, they plan to start submitting plans. As of 2 weeks ago, they were not sure whether they were going to demolish the property. But as of, a couple of days ago, the new owners decided to move forward with, remodeling the property. So
To paint.
But can we ask for pressure washing by the next?
for sure,
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
definitely. Well,
I did stress that, if you see in the emails, I did stress to them that they need to paint the house at least.
But I think if we
Pressure wash,
painting,
pressure wash it, clean it up.
give them a month.
They've asked for an extension. Can I make a motion granting the extension?
A continuance.
Continuance.
Mhm.
A continuance. They may have all this resolved by the next hearing. If as a new property owner and this was just brought to their attention,
Right.
I would give the courtesy. They know they know what's before them. They know that we've asked for it to be pressure cleaned or painted, and if they're looking at,
Right. It was, and the
but remember,
substantial,
these are new owners. They were not, maybe they
Aware.
were not aware of.
the amount they paid for the work that the city did to clean the property, to cut it, about a month or 2 months ago, was substantial. But they paid it.
they're being good property owners and trying to work with the village. It's just, you can't, pressure cleaning may be simple, but if you're hiring somebody, it's not as simple as that.
I would absolutely send them an email tomorrow and request that they pressure clean.
That, I'd like to make. a
But at least to
motion that we
grant them the
continue case-
continuance.
That we continue the case until the next meeting, given and direct the village to communicate with them to make every effort to
Pressure clean as quickly
Pressure
as
clean.
possible.
Thank you.
well, somebody has a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No. Motion passes 3-1.
The next case is 8.2. 890 Northeast 118th Street, case number CEN -23-262. Lance D. Thomas and Elizabeth M. Thomas. 8.2.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. Violation is 19.1.3. License required. This case has been brought before the board. And at this time, the property owner is seeking a fine reduction request. The $50 application fee was paid.
He's actually asking for a continuance to the next hearing. He is not able to be here because he's working out of town.
You already assessed the fine, am I correct? I mean, we just wanting in the fine.
No, he's asking for he wanted to ask for a reduction at this hearing. It was a short-term rental and you ruled and affirmed the $1,000 plus the $250. He wanted to ask for a reduction on the $1,250.
Says fine reduction request, right?
Right, but I was just assuming that since it was the permit fee that he wanted the whole thing removed.
And it appears that he gave some, on his communication, some not documentation, but an explanation, and then
Right, he did. He was here, if you remember, with his children.
documentation that just further clarifies what he was saying about their residing in the property, that
Right.
it remained open, and there was some other documentation, but if,
That's correct.
I mean, I would make a motion in case number CEN -23-262 that we continue the case to allow the resident before us on his fine reduction request.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 4-0.
At some point, we're gonna have to stop continuing cases.
Yeah, I know.
Tonight's
They come last minute.
8.5.
Well, a couple of more on us because we needed to take it to the next people. I can't fault the property. It's just things that we didn't have everything we needed. When things start not making sense, it's better to move them over.
8.5,
Yes. 981 Northeast 113th Street, case number CEN 22-87.
Luciano Nibs. Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. Violation on this property is chapter 8.4.3A, fences and walls. This property, there was a damaged fence, and the property owner needed to remove said fence or repair. Part of the fence has been removed, but there still remains another section of fence. Property owner is non-compliant, and at this time, the property owner submitted a request for a continuance in writing.
a continuance,
Why?
then, okay.
They were not able to make it to tonight's hearing.
And may I ask, what, you said it's partially been completed, because I see it as one of the, ranch style stone fences, rail fences. Was a portion of the concrete fence removed, or is the damaged portion removed, or?
The damaged portion was removed. What you're seeing there is what was left behind that entire row.
This
The-
is from January this is from December 20th.
Is that all still there?
That, yes.
Okay, so this is what remains, because there is damage here.
Exactly.
Okay. And just for the record, the violation occurred, a notice had been given out in April the 5th of 2023.
So we're dealing with 7 months before he made a move at all.
Seeing as how we've been granting continuances per the request, I'd like to make a motion to continue this to the next hearing and give the resident an opportunity to come before us.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Yeah.
Eight point eight. 11113 Northeast Tenth Avenue, case number CEN 22-104. Nadia Deravine and Edith
Sachi.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. Violation, Chapter 5.6, street parking. On this property, the driveway did not meet the design standards set forth in Section 5.6.7.
Have folks had any communication with this property owner at all? Any questions, any requests?
This property owner was here, last hearing for a different case. And I did mention to her that she has another case open. This driveway for me did not pass the 50% rule. It is, I think, over 50%. Deteriorated asphalt is cracked and it needs to be replaced.
Yeah, and there's potholes throughout it as well as grass going through half,
Sure.
well, not half, but a portion of it. Yeah, I do see that the courtesy notice was given out in December the 6th, 2022. Notice of violation was on June the 12th of 2023.
And I would like to mention, it's not a homestead. It's a rental property. So
Exactly.
it
I was
matters.
Say I see that, that it, doesn't have a exemption. I was gonna ask that question. Thank you. And no questions, I'd like to make a motion. In case number CEN-222-104, that a violation has occurred, assess a fine of $250, administrative fee of $250. To pull a permit is to be pulled or by 2/28 or 200 of 2024 or $250 per day fine thereafter.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
Comment for the commissioner. A situation like this is different for us because this is a rental property. The other situations where people live in the house, they are older, they are sick, have been the harder cases for us to bring for litigation. This one was a straightforward case for me. I'm reporting because it's a priority.
Oh, well, I agree. And I mean, it's a income producing property. And there's been sufficient notice and there's been no communication with regards to this issue with regards to the driveway with sufficient notice.
And it's like any other business. You have to be able to afford to keep your business going. If you can't, you do like business owners do, you sell, but you can't just let it go. We on 8-10?
Yes. So 8.10. 11205 Northeast 10th Avenue, case number CEN-22-103. Amaro LTD CO.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. The violation is Chapter 5.6, off-street parking. On this property, the driveway does not meet the design standards set forth in Section 5.6.7. But this driveway does meet the design standards with the 50% rule. No.
Really?
This driver, when you look at it, has some deterioration that I couldn't go.
Well, I have to trust the four of you because you're seeing it up close and personal. You know,
But if it's only 25% deteriorated, why were they cited? Why were they cited?
It was a it's non-conforming.
Ah.
So we got clarity after Mr. Keys brought forward.
Okay.
Some other, information. There was clarity, if I may speak, as to the 50% rule and when it would come in. Yeah, I do see they do have some issues, but
Yeah, 50%, yeah, it's true, it'd be hard to argue that. I'll make a motion to dismiss.
Judy seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Eight point 11443 Northeast Sixth Avenue, case number CEN 22 80. Pablo O. Marcos.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer for the Village of Biscayne Park. Violation, Chapter 8.4, Property Maintenance. On this property, they had a dirty roof. And at that time, they were not compliant. As of January 17, 2024, they submitted an application to re-roof to a metal roof. This is pending approval from the Planning, Design, and Review Board.
They're going for a whole new roof.
That is correct.
So the owner
More
did communicate.
expensive- A lot more expensive than pressure washing.
Right. The homeowner did communicate that he did clean the roof. However, the roof had a part that was damaged. So he decided to wait until he had enough money
That
to
makes-
fix the roof. So the contractor, Mr. Murphy, came in and he said he did apply for the permit. We have a number. They will replace the entire roof.
More comfortable, he's applied, it's going through the
Absolutely.
process. Okay. Motion?
Case number CEN 22 80. I'll find that the permit has been applied for and to give the property owner until March the 20th, 19th to have a permit pulled. If not, if not, we'll assess a fine and of $250, an administrative cost of $250, and a daily fine of $250 per day.
So the permit has been pulled today.
But it hasn't
As of
been.
today.
Oh,
It is approved?
It's gonna go through the process, but they did apply today.
so if everything
still,
done, then it's closed out. I mean, after that, if he doesn't, then he has what, a couple sessions to have a permit pulled, right? P and Z, because if something's wrong, he can go to the next one. There's like 2 or 3 P and Z meetings before.
Because until he actually has the permit and it's paid for, we have to go under the, yes, he's applied and that's a good thing, but
If he does that, then there's nothing.
250 is the violation fine or?
well, when we do a violation fine, because he has applied. I don't think
That was after. All right.
we wouldn't do a violation.
I see, yep.
But
All
we
right.
do a daily if he doesn't come into compliance by the date you were.
March 17.
I'll amend my motion to find that the property owner has applied for a permit. It's in partial compliance until the permit is pulled, give him until February the 20th to have the permit pulled, if not a $250 a day per day fine to commence on the 21st.
Judy, had you second that?
And I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you for that.
8.12 11450 Northeast Tenth Avenue, case number CEN 22 105. Alejandro Rose, Flowers, and Audra.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. A violation on this property is chapter 5.6 off-street parking. Driveway does not meet the design standards set forth in section 5.6.7. Status of the property is non-compliant. There were no applications found or permits submitted for this property.
Any communication, asking for guidance, extensions, nothing. Okay.
Nothing.
And considering they got the courtesy notice in December of 22 and their notice of violation is going on 7 months.
Yep, that was issued on June.
Mhm. Any questions? Not, I'll make a motion. In case number CEN 22 105, a violation has occurred. Assess a $250 fine, $250 administrative costs. Give the property owner until February 19th to pull. Let me change that since they haven't even started. Bear with me, I'm sorry. And might as well be realistic. Give them until March 20th to pull the permit, if not a $250 daily fine.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Eight point 11460 Northeast Tenth Avenue, case number CEN 22 106. Carlos Colonzo and Lori.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. The violation, chapter 5.6 off-street parking. On this property, the driveway does not meet the design standards set forth in section 5.6.7. Property was non-compliant. There were no applications or permits submitted and no communication in reference to extensions for this property. None, no communications.
And I see it appears it appears there are two driveways here. One is in a little better condition than the second. Right, and the gravel is pretty much gone, and it's filled with intermittent grass throughout it. And you said there was no correspondence from the resident property owners. There are no questions. I'll make a motion that in case number CEN 22 106, that a violation has occurred, assess a fine of $250, administrative cost of $250, to pull a permit by March the 20th, if not, assess a daily fine of $250 per day commencing on the March the 21st.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
You say if not by March 30th?
Yes, March 20th.
March 20th, sorry. Eight point 11623 Northeast 11 Plates, Case number CEN 22-10120. Charles E. Francois.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. Violation, Chapter 5.6, off-street parking. On this property, the driveway does not meet the design standards set forth in Section 5.6.7. The property was non-compliant. Contact was made with the property owner, and said owner submitted a request for continuance because they could not make it to the hearing,
I'm sorry, continuance, why?
because they could not make it to this hearing.
And a courtesy notice was given. I see it had the incorrect date of
December
December of
7th,
2022.
22, correct.
And a notice of violation 6/3.
Just going by the notice of violation, we're at 7 months. Even if you don't want to go back to the courtesy notice, and
Medical laundry, only because we've,
granted them all night.
yeah, we've granted them so far.
Yeah, you can't not now.
But, you know, I mean, if I'd known all these continuances, I think I may have, had a difference of opinion and go ahead and have ruled a violation occurred. But keeping consistency with the other ones and then moving forward with the future, maybe we should consider making a ruling finding, and then the resident can always, come back unless they're putting in proper notice ahead in sufficient time. I mean, when did the notice come in for a continuance?
When did this notice come in?
This was two days ago.
One of the things I didn't think of earlier on, we've had several instances where it's not just one continuance, it's multiple continuances, and I didn't think to say as part of our motion, we should have said.
A one-time continuance.
Yes.
Moving forward, but, yeah, because I don't see, as it's related to a number of these cases, why, I don't know if my opinion's going to change any, whether there's a continuance or not, given the things, but I would like to give the opportunity.
Yeah, it's really up to the
Consistency.
board. If you want to do orders of enforcement and give them maybe 60 days in between, or orders of enforcement with 30 days, I mean, it's up to the board. You don't have to grant the continuance.
But tonight, we're sort of stuck, Doreen, because
Understand that.
everything is about consistency and.
Exactly.
And we've granted everybody else's.
Mhm.
This is just gives us pause for thought the next time to handle something. I mean, some things are kind of obvious. Yeah, you've got to do it. It's the right thing, but this has become now ridiculous tonight.
Absolutely. And with driveways, because of the amount of time since the ordinance was passed,
That's just it.
there's just been so much time in between, and we, like
So
I say, we were very conflicted in just,
If I can ask Commissioner, wasn't this passed in 2021?
We gave a year.
Right? And you guys gave a
Year.
long.
Then we postponed right, because people were, right.
Yeah.
Now we're at a year after the year and we're still giving.
But can we give like a 30-day continuance, and then at that point we'll address it, and then
I think,
one time?
yeah, I mean,
We do now.
I mean, we could, but I'd like to be consistent with what
Yes,
we've done. I
I
just didn't
totally agree.
realize there were so many consistencies on the same issue without,
with the driveways, yeah.
whereas I don't, I mean, given the documentation and I don't see where my findings would be any different, but I would like to give the property owner being consistent with the rest of them. So, I would like to make a motion as I babble on CEN-22-120, to grant the continuance, till next hearing to allow the property owner to be present.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Yeah, definitely, I think it's part of our motions going forward. We need to make it, it's one time and it's the next month.
Well,
If people have really critical situations, they'll come back, we'll reevaluate it, but it just can't be over and over. and
well, and I hear you. I don't see what prohibits us from making a ruling and then giving the property owner if they have any,
Insinuating circumstances. give them more time,
circumstances
right.
that we may want to reconsider, then they can bring forward, but they could through the village. They don't need to come necessarily here. They can present it to the village for, you know.
Right, but
so-
some of
something
these
could be
cases,
worded.
absolutely, but some of the cases for us has been intentional, it's been intentional for us to bring them to the board
Right.
just because of what's going on with the case. And then this has been a priority for the commission.
Right.
And I just didn't want to, oh, I forgive you, I'm gonna give you time, I did that, and I don't
but
think
in-
it was.
Recent ones that we've been continuing,
Mhm.
they haven't even communicated with the
and
village
some of them
until
haven't
the
even
last
showed up,
moment.
Right,
So,
agree with that.
which sort of frustrates me now, but at the same time, I
Lesson
feel obligated.
Lesson learned tonight, but this isn't gonna be the end of it. We're gonna be seeing this on a regular basis and,
Yeah.
you know, this was kind of.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot. I was issuing a violation yesterday, for a driveway. I was supposed to. I got to the front of the house and there was a truck with one of those hospital beds working to get into, I literally stopped and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm walking away from here, I'll come back another time.
No,
So it's,
with the exception of extreme,
right,
I have a difficult time because you know what? Everybody pleads the same thing when they're faced doing something they just don't want to do. So it's judgment.
Yeah.
That we have to make between obvious extreme circumstances and just, I can't afford it, I don't really want to do it thing.
right.
This is why I was hoping we could try and reach out and see if there's some county assistance available.
You made a good point of calling Mickey Steinberg because that's where we've got to go. We've got to go. to-
Yeah.
And actually, wondering just not because we can usurp North Miami's funds, but manager to manager, if perhaps Chris can't get some information from their manager, I can't remember what his name is now, of how they handle.
No, they actually do give out grants and they had talked to these people about a grant. She said that they didn't meet the standards for the grants because they have a reverse mortgage. The reverse mortgage kind of eliminates.
Action items.
Yeah, maybe discussion, because I'd like to complete
You're right.
these cases and move
Sorry,
forward.
I'm so sorry. Getting off tangent, not. 8-18,
No.
all right?
Yes,
8-18? No, we did on the continuance.
Dale and then Judy, seconded.
That was for 17. We
Right, that
haven't
was
done
for
18 yet.
17. 18, we haven't heard.
8.18, 11704 Northeast 11 Place, case number CEN -22 121. Maria F. De Una.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. A violation on this property, chapter 5.6, off-street parking. The property driveway does not meet the design standards set forth in section 5.6.7. The property owners submitted an application on August 28, 2023. And it's pending review by the Planning and Design Review Board.
From August?
That's the second review pending for the Planning and Design Board.
And it's been on hold since September 10th. And made it to the January 8th meeting. Now, tabled again because there are missing pieces. So my concern in this case, if we don't give a fine and a deadline and a fine, this is just gonna keep going, you know, people can say they applied, but
Yep.
they don't fill in the blanks that they're told they need to fill in. I mean, it took from September to January.
But they didn't say anything about the hearing tonight, did they? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. No more.
No, I didn't get any communications from this individual.
All right. There's no other questions. I'd like to make a motion. Case number CEN-22-121. That the property owners are in partial compliance, but they, and to have a permit pulled by February the 9th, that's President's Day.
That's the 20th is President's Day.
Well, then it would be the next working day.
Sorry.
No,
we close on the 20th, right? Yeah.
That's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
Oh, it is.
Come into compliance by February, have a permit pulled by February the 20th, if not, a $250 per day fine.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye. Pardon?
Motion passes 4-0.
8.19, 11707 Northeast 11 Place. Case number CEN-22-122, Roof A. Clemento. Clements.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. The violation on this property, chapter 5.6, off-street parking. On this property, the driveway does not meet the design standards set forth in section 5.6.7. On November 8, 2023, property owner submitted a building application and it's currently pending approval from the building official.
You said August?
November 8,
November.
8, 2023. Currently pending.
In with her compliance date, but apparently P and Z approved it, but the civil engineer didn't? Is that?
If I may ask, add, there was a problem with the civil review. He was reviewing this driveway using the county's driveway requirements. And so, Pedro, is looking into it. He needed to remove whatever documents were uploaded by the, civil review. So, the driveway was approved already by Planning and Zoning Board. Yes, so it was just a technicality issue, but again, the Planning and Zoning approved the design. So now moving forward, they're just gonna start the construction and then go through the through the inspections.
It's okay.
She is okay, yes.
We consider her complied.
If she's been approved for a driveway,
Yeah, I would think that,
Approved, but then I see the civil review rejected her, so which is it, folks?
the civil review should not have rejected it.
Okay,
Yeah, it was a,
are we to consider her?
Yes,
yes.
So a permit's been pulled and paid for.
that's correct.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, if nothing, no questions, I would like to make a motion on case number CEN-22-122 that the property is in compliance and to close the case.
A second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. 8:20.
Okay. 11803 Northeast 11th Place, CEN 22-123, Adriana and Adriana Loft and Monica Loft.
Luciano Nibs, Code Compliance Officer, Village of Biscayne Park. The violation on this property was chapter 5.6, off-street parking. At the time, the driveway does not meet the design standards set forth in section 5.6. And the property owner is compliant. They applied for a permit that was issued on November 22nd, 2023 to regravel the property. And then on November 29th, 2023, they were issued a certificate of completion.
Except there's no date and no signature.
What they have in the system now.
Into the microphone, Raphael.
That's not. Yeah, that's probably something Terry doesn't sign, they put an electronic signature.
Okay, but you guys are comfortable that they are in compliance. That's all we need to know. Yeah, I'll make a motion in CEN-22-123. Property owner has come into compliance and close the case.
I second.
All in favor? Motion passes 4-0.
I believe we've gone through all the cases.
Now we have to go over the minutes. We voted to put them at the end.
Okay, we've got the minute.
Did we do case number 8.15?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that one, all right. Yep.
And 250 if they don't.
Yep, I remember.
On to the minutes. A couple things in September.
Now, I don't understand in September on 6R. It says a motion was made. Was a motion made to the September? Yeah. 6R, CEN 22-128. Says a motion was made by Vice Chairperson Delblin, but made to what? Okay. All right, okay. Yeah, I see it up there, okay. Any question on that?
Zero. Okay, 6-0 kind of has a duplicate of 6M. Six M, case number 23-303, is the one that should have had the requirement for the construction fence. That needs to be removed from 6-0 because you can't require a construction fence on the same property on different violations and then say, we're gonna go back and fine you if you don't do it. You only have to do it once. And that construction fence was attached to case 303. It needed to be removed from 305. Right, right, right. Right. In both? Okay, gotcha, gotcha. Makes total sense. Thank you. Then I had nothing for September. Anybody have any for September?
I make a motion to approve September's minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 4-0. We'll approve September's minutes. Dale and Judy. October. Okay, October, under additions, deletions, etc. Second line, it should be room with property, replace room with property, not to property. Second line, under additions and deletions. Room with property. And then under the approval of minutes, September 2023 should be tabled for corrections, because by saying amended, it looks like we approved amended minutes, which we didn't. To be tabled for corrections. And October needs to be removed altogether. This one gets a little more complicated. Let me know when you're ready. 8G. Yes, ma'am. Okay, on 8G, second line, $250 was assessed, and an administrative fee of $250 was assessed, not and was assessed. Then if you go down to when you go down to there shall be full compliance by November 30, 2023 to obtain a permit. there was no intent to lien in that one, it would be the daily fine of $250 will be assessed if not in compliance. Okay. 8H. The motion was made to affirm that a violation did occur. A $250 violation fine was assessed and an administrative fee of $250 was assessed, not is assessed. Okay, that's it in that one. October, I'd like to be back if we could.
You're making a motion to table?
Oh, thank you. Yes, motion to table October's minutes until we see them next month.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I think there's a date wrong in the December one.
December, I have to say, was primarily
7.6, it says case was tabled to the January 27th hearing.
when we were on to December.
Yeah.
I just wanted to first give them a compliment.
Oh, okay.
You know, I mean, it really, December's minutes are just beautifully done. I mean, if you pick these up, you know what went on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I'm sorry, Judy.
That's okay.
And it's never easy to undo minutes that have already been done. So thank you all for your efforts, period. Oh, Judy, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I just think there's a date error. Case was tabled to the January 27th meeting.
Which case is that?
7.6.
Oh, yeah, good point. January 17th.
So that was the only thing I had on it.
On 7/18, I believe that would be, and if you have to go back and, well, it's Dale's motion, so he can tell me. I thought we were voted to close the case, not dismiss, because dismiss always implies there never was a case. Close means that it's settled. If that was your motion, so you would know better than me. On 7/18 in December. That would have been dismissed. I mean, closed, I'm sorry. You would use closed.
No, I have close up here and I have fine paid.
Okay,
Dale,
so yeah, we closed, not dismissed. In 7,
I have written down here.
His note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I have written from my,
Your note.
from my agenda, my notes from the December hearing, I have written down closed, and just some comments, fine was paid, Dale and
on 7/20, it has motion to impose a lien. That had to have been intent to lien because you leapfrog to the lien without the intent to lien. So that probably should be corrected to file intent to lien.
I have written down, yeah, file lien for $100 plus 250 admin costs plus filing fee and Dale and James.
But that would be intent first.
Yeah.
Because, right.
File.
And so that's the same with 7.21 and 7.23. Intent to lien, because that's got to come first, and 7.24.
And
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Sorry. And I take away my suggested corrections.
You know, the terminology is all kind of weird and new to everybody.
Well, very
so
true, very true.
It's peculiar.
For sure. Seven 27 is another one where I believe we meant to use the word close, because I know, I'd like to hope I would have used the word close, because that was on me.
See,
7.27.
I have written down dismiss Mike and Judy. Oh, no, that was a different.
7.27.
I have written down closed.
Yep.
Janie and Michael.
Yeah. Okay, those are good.
Like I said, it's all kind of weird terminology until you get used to it.
Well, I think that the corrections on that were fairly minor. Would be comfortable approving them?
I am.
With the corrections?
Sure.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve December with the corrections we agreed on.
I second.
Favor?
Well,
One favor?
Aye.
December.
Where? That's correct.
And I want to say you guys have a really hard job out there. And I really appreciate the work you do.
Discussion items? Green?
Waste the board's time on this one. We've had enough discussion on driveways. I just wanted to bring up the 50% rule that we've had to retract some of our cases because after Mr. Keys, Daniel Keys, went through the ordinance with us. I mean, we were not here when this ordinance was written, like I say. So when we did our inspections, we went for every property that had a non-conforming driveway. Come to find out that initially there was discussion before the ordinance was passed for asphalt driveways, but gravel driveways were thrown in there for the 50% rule. So with the gravel driveways, it's very difficult to determine a 50%
And asphalt is pretty
deterioration.
obvious, concrete is pretty obvious.
But with gravel,
That
they
is
can replenish gravel without permits, and they can replenish continuously and stay
long as they stay in
non-conforming
compliance.
forever.
Long as
So,
they stay.
so again, I'm glad that the commission is here. This is something they can look back into if they want to, or we can keep these driveways non-conforming as long as they can replenish that gravel forever.
And some of them look fine. As
Some of
long as
them.
the Borders are, as long as they keep the grass from encroaching in on it.
Absolutely.
The unfortunate part, and it's too late to do anything about it now, is those driveways, some of those gravel driveways are humongous.
Right.
And that gravel is out in the street. It doesn't take much, but it's too late. That's neither here nor there at this point, except that is part of the problem and why they went to the border, but I'm taking time, sorry.
But at least those driveways are permeable. So even though they're big, they're percolating water down.
The reason I put the code hearing dates, I'm so sorry, Doreen, I apologize. You're done? Okay, sorry. The reason I put the code board hearing dates, even though I would have rather Michael be here, I would rather us plug in, if everybody agrees, for example, third Wednesday of the month, we can always work around it like we always have. We've switched dates, but at least staff knows what's out there. At least we're on the calendar. If we start scrambling every few months to find a date, we're gonna find ourselves with no dates or dates that won't coincide with what you folks have to do. So would everybody be okay for just put it out there third Wednesday and we can always back it up?
Well, I thought that's what it was, so.
Well, but it's really not, we weren't sure and I just want to confirm it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with third Wednesdays. When any Wednesday is pretty clear for me.
Like I said, I
And
think
then
that's what it was.
There's number 3 there, Doreen, is that a conflict, the June 12th meeting?
That's correct.
Okay.
There's a meeting for parks, June 12th. We have the same date.
Who got in there first?
Parks, I believe, because I had June 20th, and young lady here just reminded me, hey, Juneteenth is June 20th.
Yeah, you can't, I was
Well,
gonna say June 19th. and then I
June
went to-
20th, I'm gonna be out of
Too.
state.
Um,
And I'll be out of state for a month until the end of July.
So that's 2 Wednesdays that we don't have in June.
and I'm
13th.
Can we ask them to meet in another building? Could they meet in if it's Parks and Parkways, they don't.
Can we meet the 11th or I'm sorry, I might have missed something, the 11th or the 13th?
Tuesday?
11th is a Tuesday, 13th is a Thursday. Judy, you said you were going to be out from the
I haven't made exact plans, but I've got a 50th high school reunion on the 22nd of June in Boston.
20th through, you said a month,
I have July 19th wedding in Boston.
through July 9th.
Am I gonna drive up there twice? I'm gonna be begging.
For the 11th and or 13th? work for both?
Offhand, it
Yeah.
sounds okay.
Pick one. I'm good either way.
13th.
Rodolfo,
13th?
you're okay on the 13th? Why no? Okay, so June's meeting will move to the 13th.
June 13th. May we check with Michael Linot if this is okay with him? So we,
Would you please?
just so we're,
Okay,
sure.
if you-
Right, yeah.
Just let him know that we're penciling in the 3rd Wednesday
Right.
of every month, except for June.
Mm-hmm.
And to come, if he has, or he already knows their issues, come forward, we do what we can, but I don't want to see what happened in June. They got there first.
Right.
So I don't want us to run into that, especially because you guys need so much time. Okay, anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to
adjourn.
Electronic agendas. Can we ask a question?
Sorry.
That's okay. So we tried 2 methods and we didn't get any feedback except for, from
Did?
the chair.
Love it hooked into the agenda. That's where Champagne used to do it.
Right.
It's clean that way.
You
Not only
click and you.
the Same, you know, the gazillion files you're looking at, plus it's all there. But is there another program, because Judy is struggling with Dropbox. that she-
Dropbox refused to open for me. It says the file's too large.
Right, and we need that feedback because that's,
I did. I gave it to Raphael.
and Raphael didn't tell me.
Yeah, no, I immediately
Just came to
said this
work on
won't
Saturday to
open.
Make another, another way.
No. Now, the commission uses a different program.
So we talked, I had a meeting with the clerk and she did go over how they do it, the commission does it. And we may try that method. I know the chair likes what he did, however, there are issues with that because we still have to put it in Dropbox for the members to be able to see it. We have to convert the document into a PDF and then put it in Dropbox so everyone can see it. And then the other issue would be links because the agenda that you like is coming with a lot of links. Now, links can break depending on whose computer and
Right.
so we are very reluctant to use that type of format for that reason.
Right. You know, it's
However,
clean. I like it
because you open and everything is right there.
Now, the other thing is if I can't get it out of Dropbox on my iPad, I can bring my computer in and somebody can show me how to do a Dropbox on that. I've just never done it on anything but the iPad.
We'll try anything you want us to try. If Dropbox is an issue, we would have to work to find a different way.
Any problems opening it or anything?
No.
You're okay? Okay.
Then
Oh, I opened it.
You were able to open from Dropbox?
I just didn't realize there were two different things, so I already.
And that's why I didn't want to do it that way.
I wasn't gonna wait.
I wanted to give a warning first.
As an aside, even when we go all electronic, there was one file tonight that had paper, that many of the documents, 5 to 6. 8.9. Anywhere between 3 and. At least keep it in mind.
I just have one comment. Judy said that July may be a problem for her, so Judy, if it is, you're gonna need to let us know. Okay. You still may hear the voice. Have a hearing.
For what?
July.
Of course. If you have enough people for a quorum, I would expect you to. I just. A wedding. No, I think I'm gonna wear a dress.
Oh. I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everybody.
Nice
Thank you
pair
for
of
coming.
dress slacks.
Was Dale and who?
Just make sure the shoes are.
Who seconded the motion to adjourn?